Neil from Messick here to talk to you about a cool piece of equipment. Behind me here is what we call the Bale Converter. This is a unique piece of equipment that's going to take bales in the front, pull them apart, fluff them, and then feed them into another baler to be rebaled into a different package and a different size. Cool piece of equipment that we've sold here for a number of years. They've changed a little bit here, so we're going to walk you around this piece here today and show you some of the new innovations that have happened in rebaling.
Messick's, a helping hand with your land.
So why would someone want to do this, right? We spend all this time and sell all this equipment in order to put hay in the bales. Why take it apart? Usually the time that this is being done is when somebody is feeding another type of baler. You may have noticed over the years that Messick has kind of dealt in some, let's call them unique pieces of hay equipment. We sell a mini baler that makes small 4x6 sized bales, and also a little bit larger pool type one that's had its bale chamber rebuilt to make 8x11 sized bales. These are typically sold in like craft and hobby markets. And for over a decade now, from my recollection, Messick has kind of been a bit of a dealer for this kind of thing, but in a unique arrangement. Here in Lancaster County, we're blessed to have a lot of hardworking, innovative people around here when it comes to farm machinery. And there's a number of Amish shops that have been building these things over the years, and we have acted as the retailer for a number of these different attachments. And so you may have seen Messick advertising the mini baler before. Well, the Bale Destroyer here is a piece of equipment that most often goes in front of one of those mini balers. And the guys that are using these things are usually using it in a way that they're going out into the field with their typical round baler or large square baler in order to bale that hay, bring it back into a barn, feed it through a destroyer where that fluffy hay comes out and is then rebaled by one of those mini balers. Now that's really done for a labor savings, right? It seems like a lot of equipment at the end of the day, but when it comes to getting hay out of the field, there's no faster way to do that than with big bales in most cases, or round bales if that's what you have. Or if you're purchasing hay in order to rebale into smaller bales, you're going to be dealing with those, already bundled up bales, and feeding them through this machine is the first step in the process in order to get it rebaled down into a miniature bale. What you're going to see here in this video that's a little unique compared to us talking about a particular model of a piece of equipment typically is that every one of these things is unique. Every one of these setups is built a little bit differently for the particular farm and the particular customer that's going to be running it. Behind me here is a Bale Converter that's made to run round bales. We also have done these things before in versions that are just going to run square bales, or in some that can kind of run a compromise between the two and are able to pull in either type. There's also different balers that are used behind them and different conveyor systems in front of them. So one of these is not necessarily like the other, and it takes a conversation with one of the salespeople here in order to go through and kind of construct one of these things in the best way for your specific operation. So while this behind me here might look a little bit different than some of the clips that you're going to see here, it's simply because these things are a little bit different from one installation to the next. You'll notice when you look here in the back, you have these pickup tines that pull the bale apart and then pull it up into the top, and then a fluffer up at the top that will refluff the hay. Now, while this is a custom built machine, a lot of the parts that you see back in here are parts that we're actually getting off of New Holland equipment. You're going to find a lot of commonality with rake teeth and that kind of stuff, that if you need to get back into one of these machines and replace a piece years from now, we're going to be able to know where those parts are coming from. So we showed you the entrance. This is kind of the exit side of this machine. So as those bales make their way in the front, those pickup tines are going to run up that angled ramp that's going to pull the bale apart. Once the hay reaches the top of the ramp, what essentially looks like a pickup is running up there in the top, taking that hay, pulling any slices apart and refluffing that hay. That drops down the back of the inside of the unit here into these augers where it's fed out the back and then typically into another mini baler that's going to rebale that hay into a new size and new format. If you're looking at this kind of stuff, you're not doing this for fun, right? We're not just making small bales for a hobby to do something cute for our backyard. This is a business, right? And productivity matters. So there's additional pieces that we can stack in front or behind that Bale Converter in order to suit your particular operation. That includes things like this conveyor here. This creates a way that you can stack bales up to feed into the machine, to build that productive line that will slowly feed things in to feed the downstream balers, making sure everything runs efficiently. Now, I've mentioned that we're using this big Bale Converter in order to feed a mini baler, right? And that mini baler typically is one of two different versions. This is a stationary baler right here that typically makes these smaller sized bales. So we're using the converter basically to dump the hay here onto the table where it's fed into this pickup. This pickup then is going to function a lot like what a small square baler does, where it pulls the hay across into the unit and then it's packed into small bales. So while this is the table variant of this baler, there's also a small square baler variant of this too. That is usually built taking an old New Holland small square baler. Think like a model 273 if you've seen one of those older ones around. The bale chamber on those can be reconstructed and reoriented in order to build a small bale, typically in the 8.5 by 11 size or so, with adjustable lengths coming out the back. Now that's a little larger bale than what this small stationary unit is going to make, but overall, by building it off of that existing platform, it's a little bit less expensive setup than what this scratch baler is. So every one of these comes out a little bit different for every person, but over the years, Messick has sold in excess of 100 of these things, and you're gonna find them out there in farms all over the country, making these small square bales that you're gonna see in the craft and hobby markets. So that's a little bit on the Bale Converter. I think these are cool for a lot of reasons, right? It's a small volume, custom built, locally made piece of equipment that is used in the small business of people doing unique things, right? Potentially taking a commodity product that we would simply know as a round bale, small square bale, and rebaling it, reformatting it into a purpose that works in like consumery box store type environments. It's cool, right, to see how business has evolved over the years, and we're happy to be part of that. So if you're shopping for a piece like this and we can help, or if you have parts or service needs for other equipment that you've got, give us a call at Messick's. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at messicks.com.